Give Kim one more round of love. Yeah. We truly do have an awesome set of musicians. I just can't thank them enough for all of their talent and what they bring to this community. So let's all take a nice deep breath together, just staying with that vibration that has already been established this morning. Just breathe in the atmosphere that we have created by coming here together this morning. This vibration and community love that's already been expressed through our music and our volunteers and all of the individuals that come forth to really just stand in the power of the energy of love. We're here, you see, you are here, and I am here to hear, to see that essence that cannot be captured by the world, that is only living as itself as our very souls. You are here to recognize your true light, your amazing light, your true identity. And by being here this morning, we are all renewing our mind simply by setting an intention to hear more than just the words I am speaking now, but to hear and see and be, to stand in the power of love, to stand in that energy and vibration of love, and to really step into the knowingness that there is only one source, that one source is the source of all. And so as we open up, all of us, to this higher level of awareness, as we do this collectively, everyone's awareness is raised at the same time. So we come together, you see, to be in the now moment, to know that we are being called to be more than just a worldly state of consciousness. We are here to become a divine state of consciousness, because you see, you have arrived here. There is only one you. God does not repeat itself. And so you are the only one, the one and only, that is the vessel for all of this love, because you have manifested yourself on this planet. You now have a responsibility. We all have a responsibility to really embody that thing that we call love. This uniqueness that you are, uniqueness does not mean that you are separate. It means that you come with your individual gifts, your individual presence, your individual love, your individual joy, and all of that to co-create with the one and only, and to co-create with all of those individuals on this planet. You see, because we're all in it together. And so we're here in this progressive, evolving, at least I hope we're progressing. I keep saying that every Sunday. So I hope somehow, some way, somewhere, somebody is going to progress so that we can all progress. Yes? Okay. Because we are here to consciously unfold our lives, right? To unfold our lives regardless of our conditions and our limitations. We're here to claim for ourselves that there's more than just this, that there's more than just merely existing. There's more than merely surviving. There's thriving. And so we're all here to thrive, to let go of that just from living from paycheck to paycheck. You know, some of us, I know that was a time in my life, living from paycheck to paycheck, or living just to get up and go to work and not really loving what you do, or loving the place that you live, or any of that. So we're here to get beyond that and to know that it is through our practice and through our evolving consciousness that we can have those dreams, that we can have that life that we want to have. And so it's really interesting, because we keep saying that we are light, and yet some of us don't shine. And so today, this morning, we're here to shine, to open up to that light and not let it be hidden. You know, that old song goes, I'm going to shine my light. I'm not going to hide it under a bushel. All right. So we're here to shine our light. And by the way, welcome to March. Yes? March. Well, our theme this month is the divine feminine. All right, boys, you can clap too. There's a sequel. So, and this week's topic is the Holy Reimagined. The Holy Reimagined. In Science of Mind, we see the divine feminine as the givingness of spirit to itself. Divine feminine energy is often seen as the energy of flow, of being, of intuition, of the moon. While this energy exists in all humans, it often gets labeled as feminine. In the divine, there is no gender, right? There is no gender. However, as human beings, it's easier, you see, for us to understand things in human terms. So the notion of what is feminine or masculine varies over time and among cultures. Most of us grew up inside a culture that viewed God as a man. And this is not true of all cultures. Today, I want to talk about the divine feminine and how it's depicted in Jewish mysticism or mystical tradition. In the mystical tradition and in the Hebrew Bible, God is an intangible spirit beyond gender. Yet, as a way of describing the way the divine interacts with the world, as I previously said, gendered representations are often used because they're easier for us to relate to. And we can all deepen our relationship with Spirit, with God, by recognizing and celebrating the divine feminine as an integral attribute of all of creation. Here's the thing, honoring the feminine in all is to honor ourselves and appreciate it in others. Exploring the idea of the divine feminine gives all of us an opportunity to nurture our souls and to nurture our soul's development and in turn embrace our spiritual magnificence. Yes? So regardless of our limitations, God is, and God always has been, and God will always be. Our definitions and characteristics will never constrict the true divine nature and being of God. The limits, you see, that we place on God are the limits that we place on ourselves. By expanding our universe of the nature of God, we can better see the divine in ourselves and others until we are fully immersed in oneness, in the oneness that we all are. Ernest Holmes wrote, "It has been said that we can only know God insofar as we can become God." So all of this being said, I want to begin by sharing a story with you this morning. Now, this story comes with a warning label. This is not your kindergarten metaphysics. Okay? So you're all going to have to pay attention. Yes? Are we in agreement? Okay. It's the story of Shekinah. Our practitioner, Patty, loves Shekinah. Okay. The Hebrew word Shekinah is derived from the word shokin, which means to dwell within. The Shekinah is God, and God is dwelling within. Sometimes it's translated as the divine presence or the divine feminine. As the story goes, before there was anything, there was only undifferentiated divinity. From the divine perspective, there was only unity. However, in order for creation to experience itself, Spirit created divine channels through which creation happens. So prior to the creation of this world, another world existed, and that world was called Tohu. The world of Tohu is characterized by a high divine light. But even though it was a high divine light, it had weak vessels. And remember, these vessels are avenues for creation. Because the vessels were weak, they could not absorb the light, causing them to shatter and introduce disharmony and exile throughout divinity. Jewish tradition relates Tohu as the source of every type of passion and desire, and that it has the potential to destroy everything in its wake, including itself. Follow me so far? Okay. From that initial explosion, the divine sparks of light scattered. You can think of it like the Big Bang. Not the TV show, but the Big Bang, right? For all you scientists. So those shards of light upon which the greatest force was exerted flew the furthest from the core of the explosion. However, these shards of light or sparks of holiness still exist and can be found within every living being, including you and me. Even though we contain this divine light, we are still living in a material world in which it is easy to hide that light or pretend that it doesn't exist. We get involved in getting and having and wanting in this endless race for material success. And what happens is we forget that holiness exists in all of us, as us. In Kabbalistic tradition, the divine feminine, or the Shekinah, is seen as existing within this world. And to honor the Shekinah means seeking out those most precious sparks to rescue them from the shells of darkness and reconnect them to their source so that they can remember their divinity. Now, this happens through us. Through you and me. We are the agents, you see, of the Shekinah. So that this world and this life of ours can play out not just as another zero-sum game, but as an investment in unparalleled returns. You see, the soul that breathes us within us is a fractal or a portion of the Shekinah, or the divine feminine. And the journey of this soul mirrors the drama of the Shekinah, as one cell of a hologram contains the whole. Like the Shekinah, our soul is not here for its own sake. The soul is perfect before its descent to this material world. Our soul comes here, as does the Shekinah, to redeem the sparks of holiness within us. To redeem the sparks of holiness within us, within all of us. And so in Hebrew, this process is called baru and tikkun. And baru can be likened to discernment, or the ability to sort out that which serves our higher good from that which no longer serves our higher good. Much like a prospector sifts through the sand for flakes of gold. So too, you see, we struggle to discern among the illusions that we all live with of the material world, so that the light of holiness we can see as it's contained in all, seeking value wherever it can be found. Tikkun is the second step, or the step of repair. reuniting these divine sparks. So when this happens, we shed our outer crust. Those ideas of separation, of superiority, and the glow of the divine light can be seen and experienced. This is tikkun, to repair. So Berur and tikkun, these cannot happen from out there, from afar, right? Neither this world nor you and I can be healed and transformed except by those who dwell within it, by us, within you and me. So we must allow the infinite light to shine into our world unshielded. This is hard to do. We have to let our light shine unshielded. Tikkun means keeping the world standing while repairing it from within. As one might, you can think about it as if you were renovating your home, right, without disturbing its inhabitants. That's pretty hard to do. But as one, the ultimate tikkun is the harmony, you see, of a world that can contain infinite light and yet remain a world that truly works for everyone. I am in the world, but I am not of it. A world in which everyone is valued and respected for who they are. A world where hunger and disease and famine and war no longer exist because we don't need it. We don't want it. We're taking care of each other because we know that we are all sparks of the holy light. The thing is, if we really got that we are each sparks of the divine, that we are each spirit, we could never harm another because we would be killing ourselves. Let me break it down a little bit more. Tikkun requires something that is of the world and yet beyond it. It requires a captive. And so, these sparks of the Shekinah or the divine feminine place themselves in voluntary captivity so they can do the job from the inside out. And that captivity is our existence in this world where we are taught that we are separate from the divine. Sometimes I think about growing up and I think, gosh, why didn't I have this when I was a kid? Why didn't I know this? But I did know it. That's when I knew it the most. And that's when it was ripped out of me. And so our job is to repair that, you see. It is our task to remember that we are inseparable and one with and as the divine. This is the only way the world will be repaired, and we must all work together because we are agents of the divine feminine, of the Shekinah. We must all work together to make that repair happen. Centers for Spiritual Living believes in a world that works for everyone. This can never happen if we try to affect change at the level of our material consciousness. A world that works for everyone can only happen when we remember and work from the knowingness that we all contain the same divine sparks of light. The Shekinah or divine feminine lives in all of us, and we have to work, you see, as I said before, from the inside out. We have to repair ourselves first. We must know we are divinely personified before we can work with others to repair the world. This inside work that I'm speaking of can happen anywhere, anytime, any place, with anyone. Monique Stern, an international social activist who is also what I would consider an inside worker, she tells how she once arrived in New Zealand to help the Maoris, the indigenous people of New Zealand. A Maori woman told her, "If you are here to help me, I do not need your help, and it will not help anyway. But if you're here because your destiny is tied to mine, then we can work together to repair all of this." Yes? Our destinies are all tied together. You are not here by accident, regardless of why you think you're here. Our destinies are all tied together. So here's the thing. This week, I invite you to embrace your divine feminine, no matter who you are. Yes. To embrace Shekinah, because we are agents of Shekinah. And I invite you to look at the places in your life where you have allowed the husk of life to dim your divine light. And who in your life have you set apart as not containing the same light? As Jerry Garcia sang in Scarlet Begonias, sometimes you get shown the light in the strangest of places if you look at it right. Let's go into prayer. Standing in the power and the presence of that one light, feeling it in my bones, feeling that light from deep within, knowing that there is only one source, there's only one presence, one light, one spirit, one Shekinah, one essence, one vibration, one eternal light. Knowing this truth, I know that someone is in need of prayer today. So I ask you to hold them in your heart. Speak their name out loud or whisper it to the wind. Knowing that that one source that we call God, that we call spirit, that we call love, that we call light, grace, that we call abundance and prosperity, that we call joy, all of it is right where we are. That spirit is experiencing itself as each and every person here today and those who could not be with us. Knowing that that one source and that one light is the infinite, that it creates out of itself only what is like itself. How beautiful and amazing this community that it has created. That we are co-creators in this divine cocoon, this divine repair of the world. So that we can all unfold in that magnificent world that works for everyone. And so I know in this moment right here and right now, as I speak this word, this truth, it is the altar of truth that I lie upon this morning, speaking this word for this community, knowing that all is in divine order, for there is nothing but the divine. And so the same power that I know as the divine, the same power that lined up the moon and the stars and the planets, is the same power living inside each and every person here. It is the same power and presence as this community. And I know that where there is lack or limitation, there is abundance and plenty. Where there is doubt, there is faith. I know that where there is uncertainty, there is certainty. And I know right here and right now that God has no agenda, that God just is. And so I know that each and every life is unfolding in that perfect divine order, that spiritual vibration, that knowingness that we are all a spiritual idea in the divine mind, the one mind. The one mind, the one source, the one and only. And so, as I know this to be the truth, as I stand in the power of it, I give thanks. I give thanks. I give thanks. I am so grateful. I am so grateful. And it is through this grateful heart that I release my word into the perfect universal law, knowing that the law always says yes. The law always says yes. It always says yes. I stand in the power of yes, the place of grace, by saying shalom, hamdulillah, ashe, namaste. This prayer is done. I leave it knowing it is so, and so it is. Amen, amen, amen.